Hi, third graders. So it is Tuesday. You guys did great. Those of you who got on your computers yesterday and did your online learning, I am so proud of each and every one of you. And then even some of my friends who couldn't get on said, "Oh, I need to have my mom text Miss Lane. Oh, I need to let Miss Lane know that I'm still watching her YouTube videos. I'm still reading. I'm still doing things at home." Shout out to Shamar. This video is especially for you, my friend, for saying that you wanted another chapter. So today we are just going to do read alouds. This is just really quick. If you've missed some of the chapters, go back. All of the chapters that we've done since school are on my YouTube channel. I want you guys to be kept up to date, okay? So we've got Tales of Marigold, and we've got the one and only Ivan. Let's start with Tales of Marigold today. Chapter 29. Christian tiptoed along corridors, ducking behind drapes or statuary whenever he heard anyone coming. As he ran through the deserted hall of mirrors, he caught a million quick glimpses of himself and hoped that he didn't really look as demented as the blurry, fractured images suggested. Gradually, Chris made his way to the guardsmen's quarters and loitered outside their ready room. Crouching behind a large leather chest with assorted weapons spilling from it. If Rollo took offense to anything he had to say, there would certainly be no shortage of items with which to run him through. Christian shuddered, then braced himself. This was no time to get cold feet. He was on a mission. A lot of people would benefit from what he had to do if he did it right. He hid behind the chest for quite a while, through one changing of the guard, a long, boring conversation about the merits of different types of chainmail, and finally silence as the off-duty guards went to dinner. But Rollo still didn't make an appearance. Just when Christian thought he would have to go out into the castle again to hunt Rollo down, he heard footsteps and peeked out from behind the chest and saw him coming down the corridor all alone. At 8 feet tall, Rollo was always an impressive figure, but at the moment he was not at his finest. His eyes were cast down, his shoulders slumped, and he was dragging his sword so carelessly that Christian could see with relief that the tip was dulled and bent. Christian waited until Rollo had gone into the ready room before he came out from behind the chest and tiptoed into the room too. Rollo had his back to him. Christian closed the door and cleared his throat. Rollo grabbed his sword, jumped to his feet, and whirled around. When he saw Christian dressed in Beauregard livery, he lowered his blade, gave a choked laugh, and said, "What the devil do you want? And where's your barber?" Chris felt his wig, relieved that Rollo didn't seem to recognize him. "Does it look all that bad?" "It's pathetic, man," Rollo said. "Looks like you got gnawed on by a ferret. Better not let Sedgwick see you like that, or he'll have your head shaved. Come to think of it, that might be an improvement. Did you want something?" Christian nodded. "I need to speak with you in confidence." "Nobody here but us. Go ahead," Rollo said. Christian cleared his throat and shot a quick look back, calculating how fast he could get the door open if he had to run for his life. "I'm here to make you an offer. A very good offer." Rollo laughed, loudly this time. "You? What have you got to offer me?" Chris stood very straight and resisted trying to smooth out his wig. "I'm authorized to offer you a new title, Major General of the Guards, as well as a new uniform, a better steed, and a medal." Rollo squinted at him. "Say what?" So Christian said it again. "Authorized by who?" Rollo said. "By the King of Beauregard and the King and Queen of Zandelphia." "Huh," Rollo grunted and scratched his head. "And why would those folks want to have anything to do with me?" he asked suspiciously. "By the way, in case you haven't heard, the King of Beauregard is being tried for treason tomorrow, and he probably won't have too much to say about anything that happens around here after that." That's why he wants to give you these things, so you'll help him. Christian had to stop for breath before plunging into dangerous territory with his rebellion. Rebellion? Rollo boomed. There's going to be a rebellion? Chris resisted the impulse to put his finger to his lips. That's the plan. I mean, I hope. Who are you, anyways? What's some footman with a rotten haircut, who I'm pretty sure I've never seen before, doing with an offer like that? You wouldn't be a spy from Queen Olympia, would you? Trying to test my loyalty? Trying to get me put on trial tomorrow, too? Because if you are, you should know I wouldn't take kindly to that. He raised his sword and ran his thumb along the edge of it. This is the moment, Chris thought, and he whipped off his wig. Now do you know me? Rollo leaned forward and squinted. King Christian? Of Xandelphia? Really? His mouth made a big O. That's me. How did you get in here? All my guards know the queen has forbidden your entrance into the castle. Who let you in? The queen will have his head. Nobody let me in. I have my own ways of access. But that's beyond the point, which is that there's a revolt on the way. The people of Beauregard deserve better ruling than they've gotten from Olympia. Swithbert should be back on the throne. We have reason to believe that a good number of citizenry will be with us, and most of your guards. But we know it will go faster and smoother with less mayhem if you're in it too. And if you are, there'll be a title, the uniform, etc., etc. If not, well, we'll just take our chances, won't we? You're serious? Never more serious in my life. You're really going to rebel against the queen? Didn't I just say that? Chris was getting exasperated. He wanted a yes or a no, and right now. Not all this dancing around. They were running out of time. If Rollo said no, the rebellion would have to start instantly. What happens if you lose? Rollo asked. Probably nothing good, wouldn't you think? They stood there looking at each other. Christian observed that Rollo hadn't turned loose of his sword, though he hadn't raised it either. So there was no clear indication of his intentions. One more try, Chris thought. The queen has been very unkind to many people. King Swithbert has never been anything but benevolent. Which style of leadership do you think your fellow Beauregardians would thank you for helping them achieve? Some admire how Olympia rules. True, I suppose, but is that your answer? No. But when you're 8 feet tall and the captain of the guards, people expect a certain degree of heartlessness and inhumanity. Maybe you could show them that that's not you. You don't want to be a stereotype, do you? Rollo sighed again. You don't have to bribe me with the title and the uniform and all that. I'm tired of being heartless and cruel. It wears on you after a while, especially when you're thinking about becoming a father. I'll help. I want to. Good man, you won't be sorry, I hope. And good luck with that father project. I'm starting to think about it myself. Just tell me what you want me to do. Rollo didn't sound very happy, but Chris hoped that was because he was scared and worried about the outcome, not because he wasn't convinced. Well, join the club, he thought. After a long explanation of the plan to Rollo, Chris said, You can't change your mind now. I won't. Just don't wear that awful wig tomorrow, okay? We've got a deal. Now I've got to go, but I'll see you tomorrow. Far above their heads in Olympia's suite, she also was looking ahead to the next day, but she was doing it with glee and a laugh. Ooh, wow. So tomorrow we will read chapter 30. Okay, 209, 209. It's time for the one and only Ivan. Let's see, do you think they're going to get the message? Finally. Julia and George take the pictures to the ring, where there's room to see them all. An hour passes as they try to assemble my puzzle. Ruby's awake now, and she and Bob and I watch. Ivan, Ruby says, is that a picture of me? Yes, I say proudly. Where am I supposed to be? That's a zoo, Ruby. See the walls and the grass and the people looking at you? Ruby squints. Who are all those other elephants? You haven't met them, I say. Yet. It's a very nice zoo, Ruby says with an approving nod. Bob nudges me with his cold nose. It is indeed. In the ring, Julia pumps her fists in the air. Yes, she cries. I told you, Dad. There it is. H-O-M-E. Home. George gazes at the letters. He spins around to look at me. Maybe it's just a coincidence, Julia. You know, a once-in-a-million kind of thing. Like that old saying about the chimp and the typewriter. Give him long enough and he'll write a novel. I made a grumbling noise, as if a chimp could write a letter, let alone a whole book. Then how do you explain the rest of it, Julia demands. The picture of Ruby in the zoo? How do you know it's a zoo? George asks. See the circle on the gate? There's a red giraffe on it. George squints and tilts his head. Are you sure that's a giraffe? I was thinking more along the lines of a deformed cat. It's the logo for the zoo, Dad. It's on all their signs. Explain that. George gives her a helpless smile. I can't. I can't even begin to. I'm just saying there has to be a logical explanation. Look how big this is. Julia puts the last piece of Ruby's right ear into the place. It's huge. Yep. Julia watches me. She chews on her thumbnail. I see the questions in her eyes. She turns back to the paintings and stares at them, looking truly concerned. But then, a slow smile dawns on Julia's face. Dad, she says, I have an idea. A big idea. Julia races around the edge of my painting, her arms spread wide. Billboard big. I'm not sure I'm following you. I think this is meant to be on a billboard. That's what Ivan wants. George crosses his arms over his chest. What Ivan wants. He repeats slowly, and you know this because you two have been chatting? Because I'm an artist, and he's an artist. Says George. Julia claps her hands together. Come on, Dad, I'm begging you. George shakes his head. Nope, I'm not doing that. No billboard, no way. I'll get the ladder, you get the glue. I know it's dark out, but the billboard's lit up. Mac will fire me, Julia. Julia considers, but this is kind of the publicity, Dad. Everyone would know about Ruby. You want me to put up a sign that shows Ruby in a zoo with the word home on it in giant letters. George gestures towards my picture. A sign, incidentally, that just happens to have been made by a gorilla? Exactly. And you want me to do it without Mac's permission? George asks. Exactly. No, George says. No way. Julia goes to the edge of the ring, careful not to step on any of my paintings. She picks up Mac's claw stick. She walks back and hands it to her father. George runs a finger along the blade. She's just a baby, Dad. Don't you want to help her? But how would it help, Julia? Even if lots of people see Ivan's sign, it doesn't mean that anything's going to change. I'm not exactly sure yet, Julia shakes her head. But maybe people will see the sign and they'll know this isn't where Ruby belongs. Maybe they'll want to help her too. George sighs. He looks at Ruby. She waves her trunk at him. It's a matter of principle, Dad. Dad, Julia says softly, what if Ruby ends up like Stella? George looks at me, at Ruby, and at Julia. He drops the claw stick. The ladder, he says quietly, is in the storage locker. The next morning, I watch Mac's car slam to a halt in the parking lot. He leaps out. He stares at the billboard. His jaw is open. He doesn't move for a long time. A mad gorilla is loud, but a mad human can be loud too, especially when he is throwing chairs and turning over tables and breaking the cotton candy machine. Mac is kicking a trash can across the food court when the phone rings. He answers it, red-faced and sweating. "What the?" he demands. He glares at me. "I don't know what you're," he starts to say, but then he stops to listen. "Who? Julia who?" He asks. "Oh, sure, George's kid. She's the one who called you?" More talking. With the phone to his ear, Mac comes closer to my cage, eyeing me suspiciously. Yeah, he says. "He paints, sure. We've been selling his art for quite a while now." There's another long pause. "Yeah, absolutely, it was my idea." Mac nods. A smile starts at the corner of his mouth. "Photos? No problem. You want to see him in action? Come on down, have a look. We're open 365 days a year. Can't miss us. We're right off I-95. Mac picks up the overturned trash can. "Yeah, I think he'll be adding more pictures. It's what do you call it? A work in progress." When the call is done, Mac shakes his head. "Impossible," he says. An hour later, a man with a camera comes to take my picture. He is from the local paper, the one that Julia called. "How about you take one of me with the elephant?" Max suggests. He drapes his arm around Ruby's neck, grinning as the camera clicks. "Perfect," the man says. "Perfect," Mac agrees. Oh no. So finally, somebody gets his message, and still Ivan isn't getting what he wants. Because what does Mac do? Mac starts treating it like a publicity stunt, and not like it's something that's going to get Stella or to get Ruby or Ivan out of his mall and into a zoo. Oh no, guys. But still, congratulations for making it through another video, and I can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you on our class Padlet. Bye!